right, thank you so much. Here the program still this morning on ITV on independent television, and I told you we are going to be looking at Edo State Schools resumption. Let's see the role of stakeholders, and let's also see how prepared are the stakeholders. And with us today, we are so privileged to have Honorable Ruben Ikmome Ekoswey, who is the state chairman of NAPS. NAPS stands for National Association of Proprietors of Private Schools in Edo State. So welcome to this program this morning.
Thank you, my brother. And
also, we are going to be expecting a call from the Honorable Commissioner of Education so that he can also contribute one or two things into the program today. Well, Mr. Ekoswey, you're welcome one more time. Just some few days ago, we understand that, as a matter of fact, about 2 days ago now, the schools in Edo State would have resumed, except another news, another information, directive, as a matter of fact, that came from the Edo State government that schools are now going to resume on the 6th of October, 2020. That puts it on Tuesday next week. And you know, prior to this time, we've been looking at the preparation of schools, most especially the school managers in Edo State amid the COVID-19 fight. So once again, how prepared are you guys? I mean, for the private schools managers, you are the chairman of NAPS in Edo State. How prepared are you guys?
Thank you, my brother, very much. I was here some time ago. I told you, verily, we are prepared. When COVID-19 came, during that lockdown, NAPS were very proactive. We know it's going to happen like this. Just as I said, when we were insinuating government asked us to fumigate schools, so we started with fumigations. We've done that. Then we've gotten a directive from the state government on COVID-19 guidelines, infrared thermometer, running water to wash hand, social distancing, fixed masks and all that. We put everything in place. There are some schools who have fixed masks to give to the children. There are some who have sent a message out that parents should get for their kids or their wards. Then for the fumigation, I told you we've done that, and a certificate is issued to that effect. The private school, as far as we are concerned,
a certificate issued to respective schools or given to your association?
Come again?
I mean, a certificate given to respective schools that have, fumigated their schools?
Yes. Okay. That is to, how will you know if this school is fumigated if they are not
certified?
If they are not satisfied. We met with Ministry of Education. I met with some director of Ministry of Environment who gave me the recommended fumigators in the state, that's accredited fumigators. So we met with them, then we bargained with them. And they started, as I'm talking, schools that were not fumigated before that WAEC setting, fumigation is still ongoing.
Okay. Now, there's no doubt that you guys have been having meetings with the relevant authorities in education in Edo State. Now, little wonder, when we talk about this resumption now, where are we resuming from? Are we resuming going back to where the school stopped, or we are resuming fresh, a new session?
We are resuming fresh session.
Okay, that was the 2021 session.
2021 session, okay. First term.
Okay.
So if you want us to resume where we stopped, where some schools were preparing for exam second term, some just concluded their exam. If you want us to resume from there, there will be lapses we cannot cover. But the way it is now, if you resume third term, yes, it will be on record with only lose third term. But internally,
a first term,
the first section now,
first term of a new session,
yes, then we are only losing third term.
Yeah.
And within the school, internally, you can cover up what the children are supposed to learn for that third term.
How do you tend to do that? How do you tend to achieve that?
That is why I said internally. You see, different schools have different methods they will put in place. Now, the normal school opening is between 8 to 2, isn't it? And all schools offer extramural after closing. They call it lecture or lesson. So instead of that time now will now be for the children to regain their lost glory. Because the school managers know how to meet up than resuming third term before you can now meet up with the normal calendar. It will take extra 2 years. But the way it is now, it is only third term.
So what you are saying in essence is that as you are taking the first term of the new session, you're also going to be looking at the third term of the last session alongside with that. That's what you're saying?
Yes. Okay. If you need to arrive that the children must learn what they are supposed to know in third term, it can be done.
Okay, but can you, how much, to what extent can you really do that? Because if you go back to the directive that the state government gave, talking about the shifting of the resumption, the directive is that some students in the lower class will have to learn between 8 in the morning till about 11, while we're going to have others that you'll be in school from 11 till about 2. So it means that we're going to have 2 sessions, morning session and afternoon session. Now, considering just about 2 to 3 hours of learning, how do you tend to go into a new session, then also trying to...
That arrangement is not applicable to private schools.
Okay.
That shifting morning and afternoon session is not applicable to private schools.
Okay, so you tend to have a normal...
Yes, because the major reason why government came up with that idea is because of social distancing. That the government feel there is no enough facilities to cater for their students.
But you can speak for the government. You are not,
that is true. That is true.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that because I happened to attend one of the meetings where these things were actually discussed.
Okay.
But I remember I also asked that same question if the private school are included in this session, and the answer is no. We are not. We are excluded.
All right. So what you are saying is that the private schools, they have enough classes.
Yes.
That's even you have to take the students into.
We have enough classes and the population as well.
Okay.
You can hardly get a private school that have up to 50 students in one class.
Okay. Now, are you aware that schools are already demanding school fees from parents? Letters, text messages are already being sent to parents that before school resumes on the 6th of October, that parents should ensure to pay. And that seems to be a major worry for parents. I mean, we're looking at parents that have also been at home and they've also been suffering the effects of the COVID-19. Are you aware of that?
Depending on the term you said they are asking the school fees.
I'm talking about the new session now, the session that is about to be resumed. Text messages are already been sent.
To pay school fees?
Yes.
And in that same school, there are certain text messages. You pay school fees before COVID-19, you pay school fees before resumption, isn't it? If that has been the law, pay school fees before resumption, they are not out of place to request for school fees.
Okay. Okay, so
let me give you an instance. There's a government school who operate a boarding system. At point of entry at the gate, you show your teller. During this COVID-19, the children were asked to come to class for GSS3 exam, and they still are strictly on. Show your teller before you enter. That's a government
but
school.
one would have thought, because
that is one. Wait, that is one. 2, the same school who asks pay your school fees before coming to school, and that has been the rule. As we speak, private schools still pay tax as before.
We're not talking about tax now, Mr. Josue. We're looking at the school fees, which
that
is a major
the same school managers.
Yeah.
The same school managers. Their source of livelihood is that school fees. Isn't it? We know school fees.
Oh yeah, we know, but one would have thought that somehow for private school managers, whatever they want to do, I'm not against you guys asking for school fees. Well, I understand that the arrangement before now is that 2 weeks into resumption, then of course you expect parents to start paying school fees. But right now, messages, the feelers we are getting around is that messages are already going to parents that please ensure you pay your child's school fees before he resumes on the 6th of October.
That is what...
Now, these are children that have not even resumed. So the impression of that is that ensure you pay the school fees before he comes to school. Against the backdrop that schools, children resume 2 weeks into resumption, then of course they are asked to pay their school fees. That's what I'm saying.
That is what I'm telling you. Before COVID-19, schools have rules. There are schools before COVID-19 you pay before resumption. I know many schools, parents pay school fees during holiday. So if your child fall in that kind of school, COVID-19 will not change the rule. But if your child is in a school where they give grace of 3 months, maybe you pay during the exam, and the proprietor is asking you now, so you can confirm by a roof. We are not socialized to discuss.
And we even understand that some schools have even increased their school fees. Against the backdrop that parents were not, were not discussed with. We were invited to hold some form of meetings to let parents know that, look, when we resume, schools are going to be increased. What parents to get text messages and perhaps letters that school fees have been increased.
Fine. If you are saying why increasing school fees at this time, I'll hear that. But the idea of not consulting the parents before increasing school fees, how to my parents, is not an idea. A tomato seller don't consult customers before increasing the price.
Yeah, but before now, you have always had PTA meetings where you discuss all these things with parents.
I went to an hospital.
Yeah.
I went to an hospital. I said, I want to see the doctor. I asked the doctor. He said, I went through tests. They said it's malaria. Placed me on 3 days injection, blah, blah, blah. Everything cost me about 15,000. And that is injection. And I asked the nurse, I said, oh, it's too cost now. He said, me seeing a doctor alone to have appeared without doctor, that was almost 5,000. So if doctor is to increase that his appearance, he don't need to consult me.
Yeah, Mr.
So,
what I'm trying to look at here is trying to look at a way whereby parents will not be extorted. I mean, money will not be extorted from parents.
No, there's no extortion.
Yeah, because I'm a parent too,
I know.
And perhaps I'm just speaking the minds of other parents out there.
There is no extortion there. A school increase school fees without consulting you is not an extortion.
It's not exploitative?
No. PTA is not an avenue to come and discuss incremental school fees. Have that in mind, because that is the notion many parents have. If you call PTA and say, I'm not going, it's not school fees they want to increase. That is not true. PTA is an avenue to discuss the welfare of your children in that school. So if I'm to increase school fees, I will communicate to you due to so. The school fees have been increased. And don't also forget that the same market the parents go to, proprietors also go. You know the price of fuel today.
Okay, let's look at
some other preparations. Of them, but a lot of things are increased. I don't know why private school increase school fees. It turns something else. Then when other commodities are being increased in the society, nobody speaks about it. Is it not say the same money proprietor gets, they spend?
All right, now let's look at some other things that we understand is also a big issue now.
Okay.
Now, you understand that the state government is giving a directive that parents should ensure that they get the children prepared for school. In other words, they should give them some protective face gears and the COVID masks and all that. Now, we understand that some schools already asking parents to come and get their children's branded face masks. That if you don't wear a particular school's branded face mask, that you won't be allowed into the school on the date of resumption. Now, this is also exploitative, don't you think so?
That is not, I don't think there's any school that will so be...
Is there any arrangement in this regard in the first place?
No, what I'm trying to tell you, I don't think there's any school that will say if you don't get face masks from school, then you will not be allowed to enter school.
Some even schools, some schools have also said that they will give you a set. Now, that they're going to give you 3 face shield or face masks, as the case may be. That this first term, you wear one for this first term. Then, of course, the second term, you wear another one. Now, I think it's been said that at the rate of 2,005 for a set of 3 face shield.
Fine.
This is worrisome to parents.
No. Do you know why? Do you know why? I don't think there's a proprietor want to just come, proprietors want to just come and start exploiting parents like that. If you have your fixed shade or fixed, whatever name you call it, you go to that school with it. I'm too sure they will allow you in. You know, out of thousands, there must be Judas. If you give a directive like that, and mind you, when inspectors come to your school and they discover abnormalities in the children, they are not going to punish those children. Do you know that? It is the owner of the school authority, that you don't adhere straightly to the rules. So if you ask some parents, get this thing, they won't.
Now,
I will bring it next week. So the only thing you do
is to impose,
is to get those things. It's not in position. It's to get these things available in school, so that the excuse of I have no chance, I don't get chance to go market, I have not done that, then they bet. But
now, why don't you send the child home instead of imposing that item on the child? Don't you think so? Because, you know, parents will always react to some of these things, most especially when they are very exploitative.
Send the child home.
Yeah.
Send the child home is not the answer. Mind you, our interest is to educate that child. And most parents don't, what they know is my child is in school. If you send that child home, there are parents in this town today, because of that fixed shade of fixed months, he will keep the child for 3 weeks at home. So when the child resumes after 3 weeks, you don't discover that you, the teacher, have a lot of work to do in that child. He will keep the child at home just because of a shade. So it's because of your level. That is why you want your child is sent home because of fixed shade. In the next 2 hours, you fix it up, isn't it? No, so don't do that. Or they send you home, or let's go to the market. And the child education is our concern, not really you, the parents.
All right, viewers, the program is still this morning on ITV, and we are looking at those state schools resumption, the stakeholders, and let's see how prepared stakeholders are as far as this resumption is concerned. And we are so privileged to have Mr. Ruben Ekmome Ekoswei, who's the state chairman of NAPS, that's the National Association of Proprietors of Private Schools in Edo State here. Now, we understand that some schools were still, writing exams as at the time the state government asked schools to, close down. Now, at this resumption now, these schools are going to go back to this exam. And for some that have not started at all, they are going to ensure that some have completed their curriculum work and all that. It was just left for the examination. So how do you do all these things together? You know, going back to the exam, writing the exams, and resuming for a new session?
By government directive, we are to promote with first and second term continuous assessment. So there is no school at that second term that is not true with continuous assessment. Because continuous assessment comes before the exams.
The examination.
So if the school so desire, let me complete my exam, maybe they've started, not to waste the questions they have on grant, they can administer it. But if they have not started, the government will give the directive that promotes with first and second term continuous assessment.
All right, so if you're going to promote with first and second term continuous assessments,
yes,
then you leave the examination behind.
Yes.
Okay. Now, what about for your staff, the teachers that are going to be teaching these students? How prepared are they?
Yes, they are also prepared. There are schools where even when we are talking of resumption on the 60 now, teachers are already on ground. Because, yes, teachers don't resume the same day with children.
Yeah, when I say prepared, I'm talking about health-wise. How prepared are they? Do they have some form of certification that they are COVID-19 free? Are you getting that? Have you mandated them that they must come with their certified tests to show that they don't have this virus in them?
Thank you. That is an individual. It's an individual's school.
Oh, you mean it's not your concern?
No, not that it's not my concern. One, the first thing government asks us to do in place of staff and children the first sign they told us about this COVID-19 is that running temperature. And that is why we asked to get that infrared thermometer.
That's for the children and for the staff,
for the
teachers. Okay.
Yeah, we also subject the teachers to that test. So if on resumption, and I test the teacher is about 37 or 30 as the case may be, so I'll send the teacher home.
Okay.
Just as the children is going to pass through that test, the teachers will also pass through.
Now, this infrared thermometer you just talked about, have you ensured that your schools actually have them? It's not just to have just one. You think that would be enough for a whole school? Don't you think we should have them at strategic locations in the school?
So schools have as many as 4. It's not just one.
Or don't you think that each class should have one?
Each class? No, at point of entry.
Yeah.
At point of entry, you test a child, he enter. So what is the need of having it like a blackboard? Or are you not telling me when you test a child, he enter the classroom, then you contaminate into the classroom?
All right, so just one at the entrance.
But it might not be at one place of this test. There might be 4 at a straight test you so that to avoid, to also maintain social distance. All schools have it.
Okay.
All schools have it.
All right, now, when you talk about resumption, things that come to the minds of parents is that they are going to be buying new books,
yes.
They're going to be making new school uniforms, and of course, they're going to be paying 1 or 2 levies and all that. Now, in the area of books, I asked you the other time you came here, and it's one thing that we must keep on talking about, because the rumor making around is that this is the time that some private schools make their money because of the books that they sell. Some private schools insist that parents must buy XYZ books, from them, and parents are not too comfortable with this.
Anyway, I don't know why issues happen like this. Won't have to do with private school. They go extraordinary.
No, these are reality.
I
so
know.
Let's talk about them.
I know. It's also reality in all sector. A doctor cannot recommend a drug for you. You go to, when you have a pharmacy, you go and get it in another.
Yeah, but for the public schools, that's not the case. The public schools, they recommend books, and you get your books from.
And I told you the other time, in private school, we also recommend books.
And somehow you insist that.
Not insist. Let me tell you one thing. You see, I explained it here that day. Parents lure you, the school, into having books in stock in school. Imagine you send out list of books. Me, I send out list of books. Go and buy. And maybe during PTA, top 10 PTA prior to first term, you raise this issue. How we go to get books? A parent said, I don't have time. Why not have them? Why not make them available in school? Parents lure proprietor into it. Make them available in school. We'll get it.
And some of these
save all the time of going to Mission Road, going to Bishop and all that. That is one point. Then 2. So who will tell you we'll get it to buy? You see these books, they have different editions. Maybe you are recommending SYZ book, 6th edition. 6th edition is about 2005. A parent will go to the market. You will also see that SYZ textbook. Okay? You go and buy 4th edition, which is about 2000. There's already an issue. If you have 15 students in a class, 14 has that 6th edition, 1 has 4th edition is lost. That child is lost. Because the content of that book are not the same.
So that's why you insist that parents must buy.
No, I don't want to agree with you with that word insist.
Yeah.
With that insist, if I give you a list of books and you came with the books exactly I recommended, I will accept it. But if you use the word I insist, it means when you even get it, I'll still disallow it. But that is not the case. If I give you a list of books and you come with the exact books I recommended, so no problem.
And one other issue that seems to be very, very problematic is the fact that some of these schools are particular with some schools. I mean, some of the books are particular with some schools. You go to school A, you find a particular textbook. You go to another school, you cannot find that textbook. And perhaps also you cannot find that textbook even in the market. So parents are left without option but to go there and buy. And
yes.
This is bought at exorbitant rates.
I had it one time. They said private school met with authors or publishers. That is not true. The authors or publishers also have their interest to protect. The other time, this copyright commission, they came to my office that we should join hands together to fight against piracy. Really, some books are not in the market, but they are good. But we private school cannot say because they are not in the market and the books are good, we don't want to use them.
If books are not in the market, it then now means that some of these publishers or some of the authors connive with school owners.
No, there's not. No. What they are afraid of is that piracy. I know of a book. I don't want to mention the name of the author. He wrote that book very good. It was on business studies. Before he could sold 100 copies, about 10,000 copies were already in the market. He had not printed 200 copies. So that year, he retrieved his books from the market. Today, if you see that book in any bookshop, report to him. I think one time he arrested somebody in Mission Road. It is not connive. They also have their interest to protect.
All right, now let's see some of the problems that private schools are facing, in Edo State to be particular. Take, for example, the issue of registration for external examinations. You discover that at times, because most of these private schools, they still have to go to the government schools. Take, for example, the issue of primary 6 examination. Now, you discover that at times they don't have the number of students to register, and that becomes a big problem. So how do you think the government can assist private schools in this regard?
To have enough students to register?
Well, I don't know. I don't know, but it is an issue.
See, if you have 4 students, the door is open for you to register them. No matter the number you have. But the only thing you pay for under enrollment, because you'll be given a supervisor. You pay,
that's what the government requests from you.
Yes.
For that under enrollment.
Under enrollment.
Okay, what is the under enrollment?
Under enrollment, let's assume the government is not applicable to primary 6. Like in GSS3, where you are going to write in your school, and the supervisor will be sent to you. They peg that you must enroll 15 and above. Probably they've calculated money they will generate from that 15 and above will cater for the expenses the government is going to run for your school. And later you enroll 5. You pay for under enrollment.
And that difference, it goes to the students and to the parents. The difference, the under enrollment is difference in between 15 and 5. Difference in the enrollment fee is between 15 and 5. That difference now goes to the student.
No. What I mean by under enrollment,
the school authority doesn't pay that under enrollment.
No, look at what I'm saying. On enrollment, I'm saying it's not maybe out of 15 you enroll 4. And enrollment is to 2,000. Out of 15 you enroll 5. Then you have to pay
the
10 on the enrollment, which is about 20,000. No, it's not like that.
Okay.
The government have pegged it. On the enrollment is 10,000, is 10,000. So you are not going to pay per candidate you did not enroll.
Okay.
And I don't think there's any proprietor who have charged a parents for the enrollment.
So the schools take it upon
themselves. It's the school, yes. Okay. That if you don't want, you see, why some school went into it, I want comfort. I don't want to merge my student with another school. Normally, if I have 8, you have 7, we can merge, we use my center. But if I don't want that kind of stress, I pay the enrollment fee and allow them to write in my school.
Okay. So what you are saying in essence is that come on the 6th of October, private schools in Edo State, they are ready for resumption.
We're very, very ready.
Very, very ready.
Very, very ready.
Okay, so I'll take you by your words, and we should be able to bring you here some of that time, and so that we can ask you more questions if you say you are very ready. I think by then maybe we should be able to have the Honorable Commissioner of Education so that we look at more issues as we get along. Well, if there's anything that you want parents to know, you can say that out to parents as parents make preparation for their children's resumption.
Yes, what I would tell parents is that they have stayed long, the children have stayed long, very, very long at home. I know they are so yearning for the children to go back. They shouldn't see it as extortion, just as you asked the question about books and every other things to be paid for. First term is always like this. You pay school fees, you buy books, you change uniform to do that the uniform now. So I want to appeal to parents. They should please wear the armor of understanding that it is always like this. And the reason for their suffering is the children. So they shouldn't see one is trying to exploit their children. It's their pride. Our children is our pride. So we should give them the best.
Okay. All right, so I'll take you by your words that you guys are ready, and also ensuring that parents do their parts of the bargain to ensure that they keep these children ready come on the 6th of October. That's going to be on Tuesday after the next Monday, yes. On Tuesday. So all schools in Edo State, private, public, primary and secondary schools are going to resume for 2020-2021 session.
2020-2021 session.
So hopefully before then we should be able to have relevant authorities, most especially fillers from the Ministry of Education, basic education, and even from suburb, so that we can talk more on some of this issue. Mr. Ekosue, thank you so much for finding time to come
on the program
today. We'll take a short pause now for other segments of this program. Please stay tuned.